have a microphone on. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages, bear with us. Just 3 more minutes and the party's gonna get lit. We have a major problem on our hands right now. And I am not sure anything is working. Yeah, okay. Well, that's working. Did it close? Good, it closed. Got everything back up and running proper? There was supposed to be music, but YouTube crashed. So you know what? Screw it. We're just going to get started. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages, welcome to yet another Old Humble Distilling Company's Whiskey Happy Hour. I am your guide, host, and friendly neighborhood sin merchant for the night, the Old Humble guy himself. There was supposed to be further technical difficulties. There was supposed to be right down here, a new feature added to the podcast, uh, a lower thirds animation popping out. Ooh, what is that? That's this. There was supposed to be a lower thirds animation, but I could not get it to work because I make whiskey. That's what I do. I make whiskey. I do not do whatever the frig this stuff is. Put these bottles down, get it all out of the way. I have some very exciting developments today. Okay, so Friday, today is Wednesday, right? Yeah, today is Wednesday. Friday, playing at the distillery. By the way, we get 550 subscribers. We've been stuck on 530 for like a month. See if we can get this number nudged. Go share the video in your community tabs. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your brothers, tell your sisters, tell your aunts and uncles. Tell everybody. Subscribe to the channel. We get subscribers. 550, I give away a bottle of whiskey. 600, I'm going to blow some shit up. And I owe y'all a 500 subscriber episode. In the state of Texas, you can't buy fireworks except for certain windows of the year. In certain counties in the state, one of those windows is Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo happens to be the 6th, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, the 5th of May. So I may be able to do my 500 subscriber special that I wanted to do come early part of May. And if y'all play your cards right, if you push that number up to 600, the next window is July 4th. I may buy enough fireworks for Cinco de Mayo that we can do the 500 subscriber special and then the 600 subscriber special right on its heels. And wouldn't y'all want to see a 700 subscriber special shortly after that? 700 rockets going off? 800 rockets going off? 900 rockets going off? 1,000 rockets going off? Yeah, bitch, you do. Anyway, so today's Wednesday. Friday starts our Friday nights live at the Old Humble Distilling Company, and we have a full lineup of bands booked starting April 1st. We have Ryan Adam Wells. Oops, let me write down Kim Bros here. We have Ryan Adam Wells on the 1st. We have Greg Day on the 8th. We have the Kimbros on the 15th. We have Don May on the 22nd. We have Greg May returning on the 29th. Then going into May, we have on the 6th of May, Marshall. On the 13th of May, Don May returns. On either the 20th or 27th, we have Jay Bizet in the house. Tara's Traveling Kitchen. Cheers, Tara. So every one of these Fridays, tickets are $10, $5 with the Groupon. We'll probably give you the $5 deal at the door if you ask nicely. You get a flight of samples with those. I made the first 3 flight boards today, and I'm going to make 3 or 4 more over the next few days. You need more rye. Well, hey, we're going to be open on Friday, so come and check us out. Ryan Adam Wells plays. 6 o'clock doors open. 7 o'clock music starts. Ticket is $5 if you say you heard about it on the YouTubes. The password is YouTube. And yeah, stay for the music. Ryan Adam Wells is a great performer. He's a fun performer. He's a fun individual. He's a fun guy. I was trying to avoid saying fun guy because that sounds like saying he's a mushroom when he's not. Cheers to y'all out there from me in here. As I said, I am your host, the Old Humble Guy, the owner and maker of whiskey here at the Old Humble Distilling Company. And right now we're going to break real quick for a word from our sponsor, which is the Old Humble Distilling Company. A word from our sponsor. Where the hell's my whiskey? It's right here. What whiskey is that? Old Humble Distilling Company's Double Oak Straight Rye Whiskey. It's made from 95% rye, aged 2.5 years with extra oak staves in the bottle. So you get this much darker, deeper color in your rye than you would your typical 2.5-year aged straight rye. And with the double oak process, you get a much fuller, more well-balanced flavor than your typical straight rye whiskey. Old Humble Double Oak Straight Rye Whiskey, available in stores near you. So go get some, because life is too short for bad whiskey and too long to do nothing about it. That is a mighty fine whiskey. All right. So Tara's. Oh, you're in Kansas. Well, when you get back, we'll save. I'll set aside a bottle for you. When you get back, we'll have some. Come on out. All right. So let's get on with the show, shall we? Shall we? Anybody object? Anybody? Any objections? No objections. Good. Well, these happy hours, these whiskey happy hours, especially tonight's, the whiskey happy hours that we do, I started doing them multiple times a week. We do our big 2-hour show on Thursday. That's when we have Lisa come in. We do our Unhinged Chronicles. We do the bits and bobs of the show. We do our weekly updates. We do all the information, of course, the regular information about the distillery. We do our weekly updates. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, do all the things. That helps us grow. That helps our metrics. And I am watching those metrics. I'm actively watching those metrics. That is a pile of garbage. And I need to do something about that because that just looks terrible. God damn it. I should do something on that whiteboard too. Where's that? I'll do something on this whiteboard tonight. Where's my, there it is. Subscribe today. If you want to support us beyond, if you want to monetarily support us, you can always go to our website, get into our store. That's red, that's black, that's black. Where's the blue? Is that blue? There's blue. Like, subscribe today. That's what I'm going to put. Subscribe. Make a. subscribe, subscribe. Can you read that? Because can you see what that says? Yeah, subscribe to, let's do a big block T. Color that in. Today. And we'll do a YouTube thing. Or I'll do the, where's the red? Here it is. Red? Yeah. We'll do a little button. What is it? Like a curve over here, curve over here, curve there, curve there. And there's a red button in the middle. And it's kind of colored in. Red, right? Kind of what it looks like. Right? They kind of look like a YouTube button. Yeah. Then I'm going to outline it in black. Because black is awesome. This is my 500 subscriber button that you get from YouTube for 500 subbies. Yeah. There you go. Can you actually see that? Well, can't really, but at least it covers up some of the mess that I've got back here. You know what they say about a messy desk or a messy office? It means you haven't put shit away. That's what that means. Actually, I need to put this over here. I've got like clothes in here. I mean, it's just a fucking disaster. Get over here. There. That's better. It's not great, but it's better. I'm on Rumble now. On Rumble? Rumble? Is that a dating platform? I'm not familiar. But Lisa's Unhinged Chronicles. She's on Bumble. She's on Facebook Match or Facebook Dating Match.com. I think she's on Match.com. Tinder, maybe Tinder. I can't remember all the damn platforms she's on. But that's where we get our Unhinged Chronicles from. I will do something about that. I promise. But that's what we do on our Thursday night show. Our Monday night show has been a fairly dense show where we pretty much talk about current events, and the current event that we talk about is Ukraine, because that Ukraine's been on my mind, heavily on my mind. I worry about the ramifications, the unintended consequences of geopolitical chaos. I shouldn't, but I do. Click this real quick, make sure it's working. Okay, that's working good. Is that working? Yes, that's working good. Is that working? Yes. Okay. So everything's working on that end. I'm going to close that down there because it is not doing anything. So it gives me concerns and it gives me pause and it gives me headaches. So it's my therapy to talk about it on the shows on Monday night. Usually I guess it was Tuesday night this week. Mondays we do a live stream in the morning where I look back at the last week's analytics and discuss what I've done on my quest towards 100,000 views. It's a fun watch, I think, if you're even remotely interested in channel building and channelytics, channel building, and best practices. It's a fun watch, I think, because you get to watch a dumb idiot like me try to figure out basically how to use a sewing machine. It's not drastically different than real life sales. The YouTube algorithm is basically just a big sales funnel. You learn how to get the impressions. You learn how to draw people in from first the impressions, then the click rate. Then once you get them through the click rate, you got to figure out how to convert them. And that's part and parcel of making better content. And I'm trying to make better content. I spent the better part of the last hour trying to figure out how to do the little thing down here in the bottom third of the screen where the name just kind of comes out and reminds you, hey, don't forget to subscribe, and then goes back and the name comes out, the Old Humble guy talking about what nonsense, and it goes back, and then the thing comes out, and to have like a periodic animated little thing that pops out. better part of the last hour trying to get that stupid thing to work, and it did not work. And that entire effort was culminated with my web browser crashing for some inexplicable reason, and then me not being able to do my intro music like I was hoping to do. So there. I'll work on it again for tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll have it set and finished by the weekend. And if you're watching during the day, if you're subscribed and you had that little notification bell clicked, when I go live during the day and do day in the life type of videos, like I did today when I was making my flight boards for my whiskey flights, you'd have been able to interact with me at the distillery, see the shop. Um, I do something different whenever I go live. I'm doing something different. Usually, most of the time, it's involving the actual whiskey, the bottling, the labeling, the sealing, the processes around making the whiskey. But there's a whole lot of stuff that goes on at the distillery that is adjacent to the whiskey. Like today, it was flight boards. Yesterday, I was sealing bottles and talking about, uh, actually, yesterday, day before, I think it might have been the day before, I was sealing bottles and just basically talking about building free will and hope and all the other stuff. God, the conversation rambled all over the board. But I basically start with, uh, if I don't have anything to say, I don't say much. I just talk about the process. But when chat comes into the play and they start to interact and they start giving me ideas, then I can start riffing off the chat. And we get into a very fun little conversation over the course of the day. It's like talk radio, except I'm not insane. Um, and plus you get insights on what's going on behind the scenes. You think this is a glamorous type of job. It's I don't know who actually thinks that, but building a business is work. It's hard damn work, and it's not the same type of work every day. Like when you have a business and you go into work and it's the same thing you do every day. When I was working as a trust officer, it was the same damn thing I did every day. I'd go in, check my emails, check my daily cash balances, uh, put in trades for any trust that needed to raise cash or draw off cash, process payments, process deposits, um, then move on to answering phone calls, and then doing uh, investment reviews and administrative reviews on accounts. And I would have 25 to 50 accounts a month to do investment reviews and administrative reviews. And it was just, you have about 3 hours to do that every day. And it would just become it was a day in, day out task of stuff to do. And if something blew up, those tasks get pushed off to the next day. But, at the distillery, it's not like that. Um, Today I made wood flight boards for shot glasses. Tomorrow I'm going to be installing some plumbing. The next day the next day's Friday. I'm going to be preparing for a concert. And then come Saturday when I'm basically cleaning up from Friday and installing some more plumbing. Actually, Saturday is probably going to be a light day where I do some more bottling and clean up. And then Monday, we kind of turn the cranks and figure out what's next. Half of what I do is here on the computer, where I do other stuff that really you neither want to see nor can you see because it's regulatory paperwork and checking inventories and blah 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 crap like that. Uh, this evening, after I left the distillery, I came home, cleaned up, put on a fresh shirt, went out and did some sales. That's you're not going to be able to see that either. Although I don't know, 5 minutes of that's kind of interesting. Let me tell you how it goes. Somebody walks into the store. I see them come through the door. Come in the door. Would you like to try my delicious whiskey? And they say yes, and they come over. I give them a shot glass, not a shot glass, a sample glass that's about a quarter of an ounce, less than a quarter of an ounce, zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2 ounces, somewhere in that neighborhood. I push them over the drink, pass it over to them, and say, "This is our double oak straight rye from the Old Humble Distilling Company. It's made from 95% rye and aged 2.5 years with extra oak staves in the barrel." And I'm showing them the bottle, holding it up like this, so they can look at it because they're standing up above it. They can look down at it as they're looking at it and sniffing it and evaluating the whiskey. It's made extra oak staves to give it that darker color, deeper flavor, and more balanced profile than your typical 95, your typical high rye straight whiskey. By that time, they're taking a sip, they're evaluating, they go, that's actually pretty good, or they don't like it. Most of the time, they like it. They go, thank you very much, because they say, that's good. I say, thank you very much. It's 90 proof. We make it right across the river in Humble using reclaimed rainwater. That bottle is only $30, and you get it signed. And I hold up the pen. You get it signed by the guy who makes the whiskey. And they go, "You're that guy." I'm that guy. And they go, "Yeah, I'll take a bottle." And I sell them a bottle, and out the door after 12 bottles, usually a case, and I'm out the door. Uh, Tara can confirm the sales pitch. She's been in the distillery. She's heard it. And I say it. I mean, I say it probably. Let's see here. Today I sold 14 bottles, 15 bottles. So my hit rate on my conversion rate, my hit rate on people I give the pitch to who try the shot is usually it's between 2 to 1 to 3 to 1. So between a third and a half of the people who I talk to make the purchase. I say it at least, let's say 30, it was 35 times today. In some stores, it's a little bit lower. Downtown Houston, the Midtown store in Houston, it's a little bit lower because those people tend to shop and taste a lot. People are just coming by and browsing. There's a lot of samples available, and people will come in on Thursday afternoon or Thursday evenings and Friday evenings to pregame their clubbing. They'll come through Specs, get a bunch of samples, and then head out to the club. It's a clever strategy. We all know. I mean, trust me, the tasters, we all fucking know. So the hit rate's a little bit lower. So to sell a case and a half, I'll give the sales pitch 60 times. But this is the same logic that goes into the analytics on the YouTube servers of number of the initial audience, and feed it down. And I've gotten some interesting data. Like basically half of my watch time comes from people who aren't subscribed. Half of my views come from people who aren't subscribed, which I find to be fascinating. No, I take that back. 2/3 of my watch time come from subscribers, but half of my views come from subscribers. So my subscribers are obviously coming in and watching and hanging out longer than people who aren't subscribers. But out of my 120 or so hours that I've gotten this month, I think it's about 120. 80 hours has been subscribers and 40 hours has been not subscribers. So it's like, we have a ridiculous number of non-subscribers coming through, and I've got to figure out how to convert them and get them to come in and stick around and stay in. Part of it's interesting content. Like tonight, our content tonight. Can money buy happiness? I mean, can money buy happiness? That's the debate. That's the question. Can money buy happiness? The baseline answer to that question is yes, but also no. Like if you're a miserable person, money's not going to make you not miserable. I mean, if you're a miserable person, you are a miserable person. Good night, Tara. Get some rest. I know you've got to get on the road early, so get some rest. Get your media, or get your rest. Get your everything put together, and get on the road. We will see you soon. I linked the sites in case someone happens to wait. What? It's a media. Oh, Rumble. It's a media site. Rumble. It's a media site. I got you. It's a media site, like YouTube to post videos. I got you. In case something happens to YouTube, that makes sense. Okay, I've never heard of it. I'll check it out. See what that's all about. But yeah, go get some rest. Relax. Get some rest. Be awesome. And get a good fresh start on the morning. So yeah. So can money buy happiness? Me and my lovely wife, we're kind of in agreement on this. Money doesn't make you happier. But there's also a distinction to be made between happiness and joy. Joy is a state of mind and a conscious choice. Um, Joy is a conscious choice. You can be a miserable person and joyful at the same time. You can be unhappy in a miserable situation, a miserable circumstance, and still have joy. You can still hold joy in your heart. That is a choice. You hold joy inside of you. Is that the goddamn bacon coming into the house? Holy Jiminy Christmas. Goddamn bacon has joined us. Welcome to the party, my man. What do we got here? You can convert them into subscribers if you promise to send airplane minis if they stay in for 3 months. Well, I do have bottles of minis. I do have minis, specifically for samples, specifically for sharing. Um, and I looked back last night, I couldn't sleep. So I looked back at my subscriber counts over the last couple of years. And they've kind of gone in spurts. They jump up in spurts. And I think those jumps correlated with me going to Twitter and telling people on Twitter we're going to be doing a whiskey giveaway on our YouTube channel, and then a bunch of people signing up from Twitter. Me doing a bunch of shows where, like our 400 subscriber episode, we got a whole bunch of subscribers after the 400 subscriber episode, and we pushed up from 400 up to 500 real fast. We've sat at the 500 plateau for a while, since December. I guess it hasn't been a while. It's just felt like a while because we've been sitting at 530 for like 2 months. But maybe that's what I'll look at in my quest for 100,000 views next week. Because next month, beginning in April, I'm going to start the process of converting from pursuing views specifically, because I feel like I've learned how to get the click-throughs from the impressions, the click-throughs, and the views. I've learned that, and it's become habit. So I feel like I've done that. I've been able to replicate it from February to March. It was replicable, and it's habitual now, and I understand what I'm doing. I'm still getting the same average of, from March to February, the average of views per video is about the same. It might be a little higher in March than it was in February. So I'm doing an actual better job of getting views in March than I was in February because I have fewer videos and more views. But it's time to go to the next step, of just simply making a better product and engaging the audience more effectively with the trivia nights, with the giveaways, with the interaction. We're a live show. We need to interact with the audience more. It's not getting more chat in, get more interaction out, and putting out a better product. Doing more animated stuff, doing more stuff on the screen, so it's not just me lounging back in my office chair, relaxing because I had a busy fucking day today. Geez, I've been running around since, what time is it? It's 11, almost 10:30 now. I've been running around since like 6 a.m., which is and I was up late last night, so it's like I've been functioning on a 3 hour sleep, just running around. Had to yell at the bank for like 30 minutes. I had fraud on my account last week. Fraudulent charges on my damn account last week. Ridiculous. Anyway, that's a whole nother story, and y'all don't need to be bored with that. But part of the goal of doing better shows and making better products is shows like tonight, when we get to talk about these things. Like, you know what? I wonder if I could do this. Hang on. No, I've already got everything set up. I was thinking about doing a Zoom panel tonight, but I can't do it. I can't do it on this format because I've got everything set up. And history has told me once I get everything set up, if I go in and change something, the process of starting up a program while all this stuff is running, while my video's rendering and OBS is on and YouTube Studios in the background and all this shit's going on. If I go and start up another program, it uses a lot of CPU energy, CPU space, and then everything chokes up, and I run the risk of fucking up the whole program. So we won't be doing that tonight. Sorry. Had the stuff that I was working on earlier worked, we would be there, but we're not. So next week, maybe later tonight, we'll do a sip and chill. Get your beverage, I'll get my beverage. We'll just we'll have a chat and we'll enjoy ourselves and chill the fuck out. It'll be fun. Maybe not. Maybe it won't be fun. Maybe everybody will hate me and want to poke my eye out. But so y'all will participate through chat tonight. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the next. Randomly looked at YouTube Studio last night. Now that I mention it, I do mention it. I did. I don't know what the viewer number is, but what floored me was 3,500 watching. You have 3,500 watch hours. That's impressive. Job, bravo. I'm gonna take a quick look. I want to see something. Bacon, go to your channel. You have 1,100 subscribers. You should have. Oh, look at there. The Urine Times report, bourbon and bacon. How did I miss that? Oh, that was 4 days ago. That's how I missed it. But yeah, you've got 1,000 subscribers. You should have 1,000 or so, or a couple thousand at least, watch hours. I think. I don't know. I'm happy to get 100 out of my 500 subscribers. But my shows are also, I only put out 1 or 2 hour live streams. I don't usually put out, unless it's a day in the live stream. My day in live streams are 2 or 3 hours long. My normal live streams like tonight is only an hour, hour and a half. If you have 2 or 3 people watching for a 6-hour show, you get 20 hours of watch time. If you have 2 or 3 people watching for a 1-hour show, you only get 1 hour, 2 or 3 hour watch times. And I need to get that up from 2 or 3 to 10 or 12, ideally, hopefully one of these days. But we'll get it'll get there. That's a talk for Monday. Tonight's I keep trying to get back to the damn topic, and you keep pulling me away from the topic. Can you buy happiness or can you buy happiness? Period. We know science has told us. Get a little more comfortable in my chair here. Science has told us that money will buy happiness, and not so much money, not so much happiness. Money does a peculiar thing. It walks you up the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You got shelter, food, security. Those basic things: shelter, food, security, where you have a roof over your head, you have food in your belly, and you are secure in your person. That the people around you aren't going to take that roof over your head or the food in your belly. Health is another part of that, where your security and your health go together. And then on top of that come more luxurious items like cable, internet, communication, things like that. Although communication can be considered part of your mental health too. You know what? I was going to do this. Sorry. Boop. Is that the one? Bam. There you go. Looky there. Everybody's in chat now. Everybody's in the party. You see my cursor there. Let's see here. Do I need to extend this down? Yeah, I will. There it is. Everybody's in the party. So it's basically Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And if you're not familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Maslow's, ASLOW? Yeah, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Here's the image. It's pretty standard fare. Psychological needs, safety needs. There it is. It's basically a big old pyramid with the top of the pyramid being self-actualization. But in practical terms, we're talking about, what are we talking about? In practical terms, we're talking about, breathing, food, water, sex, sleep, homeostasis, and excretion on the base level of psychological safety. You've got your security of body, employment, resources, morality, the family, health, and property. The next one being love and belonging, where you have friendship, family, and sexual intimacy. And then esteem, being self esteem, confidence, achievement, respect of others, and respect by others. And then the final piece, the self actualization bit, where you have morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem solving. Yeah, there it is. Problem solving, etc., etc. Lack of prejudice, acceptance of facts. Now, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of course, when you have resources that you can go through those little steps in the hierarchy, uh, that brings you more happiness. And there is nobody I have ever met that has ever said they were happier when they couldn't pay their bills. Um, we all know the people, we would marry for love, not money. Well, that's fucking stupid. You should marry for money. You absolutely, I mean, not if given the opportunity. If the rich guy wants to marry you, if the rich girl wants to marry you, be a kept man, be a kept woman. Marry for the money. Go for it. The only people like you will never ever 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 convince me that you will be. Now you could be. Well, hold on. Let me finish the statement. You will never convince me that somebody will be broke, poor, with unmet needs and unpaid bills, and always constantly living on the edge of financial disaster. You will never convince me that that person would be happier than they would be otherwise if all their bills were paid and they had money in the bank. You'll never convince me. Now, there does obviously come a point where more money doesn't make you more happy. You have your needs met. And then after that, it's like everything else. Like what I always say with the flat tax debate. If everybody gets taxed 10%, well, the person making $35,000 getting taxed 10% is not getting taxed the same way that a person making $350,000 is getting taxed at 10%. Yeah, it's 10%. The money is the same going out the door. 10% of their net income is going out the door. But the person who makes $35,000 spends their $35,000 differently. And in fact, all of those $35,000 are spent the same way as the first $35,000 that comes in the door for the guy making $350,000. That first $335,000 gets spent on rent, food, clothing. Well, let's talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It gets spent on clothing. It basically gets spent on breathing, food, water, sex, sleep, homeostasis, excretion, and then on security of body, employment, resources, morality, family, health, and property. So basically, that first $35,000 gets spent on food, family, housing, and transportation. Uh, And it's the same way that first $35,000 gets spent for the guy who makes 10 times as much. It's the last $35,000 that comes in the door that gets spent differently. With that last $35,000 for the guy making $350,000 gets spent on, well, sometimes it doesn't even get spent. It just gets saved. Goes into investments. It goes into the great grandchildren's trust fund because the other 5 generations will never spend that money. They'll never see it. They'll never spend it. That last $35,000 when you're making 350,000 or 450,000 or 3.5 million, that last $35,000 may never see the light of day. But when that last 35,000 and the first 35,000 are the same 35,000, well, it gets spent on milk, and it gets spent on ham, and it gets spent on uh, Cheerios, and it gets spent on blue jeans, and it gets spent on suits and gasoline and new tires, and it gets spent on basic needs that people need. Um, and studies have shown that up to about $85,000 that covers the basic needs on the hierarchy of needs up to and including right about uh, love, belonging, and esteem. right up there. It gives you enough to have, enough to share, and enough to put away for a rainy day later. Right about $85,000. More than $85,000, you don't get. It doesn't cover your basic needs. More than $85,000, you're talking about the esoteric shit. You're talking about uh, uh, the problem solving and the higher functioning type of stuff. Um, and if you look at society today, the average is about, I think the average is 40,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. What do you have to say there, Bacon? Where you at? Uh, as the saying goes, more comfortable crying in a Mercedes than on a bicycle. True. More and I I'm one of the first people to say that I am so it is so peaceful and so blissful out under the stars. It doesn't cost anything to put on a backpack and walk under the stars and sleep in a tent in a backpack or in a sleep in a tent in a sleeping bag on an air mattress. But I'll tell you this much: I'm a hell of a lot happier on that air mattress than I am on the bare fucking floor. That air mattress costs money; it's not free. Or I mean, maybe you can find a free air mattress somewhere. Steve, cheers, Steve. I am a philosopher that enjoys a random audience. Thanks for noticing. I appreciate that. And hey, while you're here, don't forget to subscribe. We hit 550 subscribers. When we hit 550 subscribers, I give away a bottle of whiskey. So yes, I am 100% a philosopher who just enjoys random. I will literally talk to strangers in a bar. I will literally talk to strangers in an airport, and that's awkward because everybody's always tense at a fucking airport for some reason. I will literally talk to random strangers when I'm in the mood to talk to random strangers, because sometimes I'm not in the mood to talk to anybody. Uh, and Lazy Nate's joining the party. Yes, I am actually doing this, Nate. I am. I told you I would do this. Uh, but yeah, I mean, if you're a miserable person, if you're an unhappy person, you're not going to get happy by spending money. You're still going to be a miserable fuck. You're just going to be a dreadful dreck and a terrible person and a drag on society. And no one's going to be around you. No one's going to want to be around you. Nobody's going to be around you, period. You're just going to be a lonely, miserable, horrible person with a lot of money. But if you have the right mindset and the right attitude, and you can absolutely, you get your basic needs met. That's the I guess the root of the thesis is if you meet your basic needs, and in society, we're a society that's based on money. You meet your basic needs with money. You meet your basic needs. You're a happier person. You're an absolutely happier person. If you're not driving around on bald tires, fretting that that you're going to be ruined, that you're going to have to take a payday loan, that you're going to have to max out your credit cards because you blow out a tire, you're happier. You do not have that weight on your mind. You do not have that burden on your shoulders that you're carrying around all damn day long. And I've been on both sides of this equation. As a business owner, as a person building a small business, I can tell you, I've been on both sides of that equation within the same 30-day period, just praying that nothing breaks. You know, dreading the idea of actually opening up the door because on the other side of that door, something might be spewing some fluid onto the floor and being like, holy crap, what am I going to do? Hell, my first batch of straight whiskey, rather, uh, I put it into our bright storage tank. I put it into our container, filled the thing up, and then the sight glass on the container cracked, and we lost something like 55 gallons of whiskey, of raw whiskey that hadn't been proofed down, barrel strength whiskey, something like 50 gallons, which was about 300 cases of whiskey. We lost 300 cases of whiskey because of a leak in our storage tank. Devastating. Absolutely fucking devastating. Because each one of those cases was about $168. Heartbreaking, devastating. Uh, that sets you back. Of course, then I still had a real job, so I was able to make up the shortfall. But oh God, if that happened today, jeez, I don't even know what the fuck I'd do. I'd have to go sell my kidney or something. um, the trillions of galaxies, stars beyond. Oh, you are a subscriber. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate you being a subscriber. Thank you. Um, Stay tuned. The 500 subscriber special hopefully will be right around Cinco de Mayo, and we're gonna blow some shit up, homeboy. It's gonna be fun. Um, Goddamn bacon is back in the party. Um, yeah, happier when your booze fridge is full. I'm always happy when my booze fridge is full, to be quite honest. Um, Comfort and ability go hand in hand. Yes, okay. Nate, Nate and I briefly discussed this back. We had a little back and forth on Facebook. Uh, just a brief back and forth. Uh, Comfort and ability go hand in hand, and while it does take a weight off and allegedly helps with mental health, I know people who aren't. Oh, I know people who aren't happy too. I know a shit ton of people who aren't happy. They're miserable fucks, and that's how they get their jollies of just being miserable. And more money's not going to make them happy. Less money's not going to make them happy. They're just unhappy. They're happy being unhappy. That's that's how they roll. And I can't stand those people. We all know those people who are unhappy and that is their hobby. Their hobby is looking at the bad side of things. Their hobby is looking at a blue sky and seeing the cloud and saying, "Yep, that might rain." Their hobby is making other people around them equally miserable. Uh, and they hate it when you tell them that maybe you just like the drama. Maybe the common denominator in your terrible relationships is you. Maybe the common denominator in every single one of your managers being a horrible person is you. Maybe you're the one. Maybe you're the drama. Maybe they hate hearing that. They absolutely hate hearing that. So generally you don't tell them that because they don't want to have to confront their own personal demons. But that's a different type of person. Those are miserable people who have no joy in their life. That's their mental mindset of having no joy. That's a different discussion. That's a different concept of person. And maybe they have no joy in their life because there's some other miserable stone in their shoe, and that's just how they are. That's a whole nother issue. That's a whole nother issue. I'm thinking more along the lines of just simply the comfortable life. uh the basic things, not a comfortable life because it's never comfortable. Life is a struggle. Just the basic things that 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 we need as people to satisfy the basic needs of humanity, the basic needs of people. And you can't go to the store obviously and buy a bucket of happy. uh you can buy a bottle of happy. You can buy a bottle of joy juice if you wish. Um, Buy a bottle of Happy, available at fine apothecaries near you. Um, it's not it won't solve your problems, but it is a solution. That's our next marketing tag. Let me write that down. Hang on a second. I got to write that down for my marketing team for next week. Because tomorrow we're going to have a word from our sponsor. It won't solve your problems, but it is a solution. And that is scientifically accurate because it is a 90% or 45% alcohol and 55% water solution. So the alcohol is dissolved within the water. Some of the molecules are bound together. That is a solution. Scientifically fact. Anyway, you can't go buy a bucket of happiness, obviously. but you can absolutely settle the troubled mind. Uh, having as a child, having clothes that don't fit, having clothes that are dirty, having clothes that are ripped, having clothes that are hand-me-downs, versus having new clothes. That is the difference of money. Now, if everybody has the hand-me-downs and ripped clothes and dirty clothes and all that, then that's, nothing. Everybody's unhappy in the same way. Um, that's probably a bad example. Let me find a better one. I mean, they say they say new marriages break down more often than not over money than anything else. That's that's if that's the truth, then and it may not just be money, it may be time, it may be a disconnect of the marriage itself, but money is a huge driver of why marriages break down. People are unhappy because they just don't, they're always stressed. They're always constantly fighting about not being able to do something or being able to do something and overspending or whatever it is. That is a source of unhappiness. Straight up source of unhappiness. Lack of resources, lack of lack of being able to walk up the Maslow's hierarchy of needs between your psychological safety. Nope, that's not it. Psychological safety. Give me a bigger picture. God dang it! Need a bigger picture on here. Thank you. Uh, Self-actualization being the tippy top part, and that's another. That's that is that's also one of the things that helped build our middle class. The social engagement with the middle class, the leisure time that people had, the invention of the high school student that didn't exist before the 1950s. The uh, because before the 1950s, by the time if you were a 14-year-old boy, you were working. You were straight up working because there were no child labor laws. You were going off to work. School was a luxury. All of those things came together to make a happier society, a more connected society, a more engaged society, a an overall happier society. And if in our free time, instead of engaging with our neighbors and engaging with our friends, hell, we live in a suburb where we don't even talk to our neighbors. But instead of doing all that, you're working a second job or working a third job in order just to make ends meet. You're not a happy person. You can't be you can't achieve the goals on the basic hierarchy of needs because you're constantly working, constantly trying to satisfy your basic needs, and then you're not engaging with other people. You're too tired to screw anybody, so you're not having sex. You're um, you're too busy to have anybody engage with you. So your friends and family drop off. You don't get to see them. You don't get to engage with them. You're having to make compromises on where you live and how you live. So your safety is being put into question. Your basic maintenance on your car is being scrimped and cut. You're giving up basic things and maintenance on your car, so your physical safety's in question and in danger. I mean, all of these things come together and all of these problems are solved with money. So get that money, go spend it, buy happiness or buy the things that allow you to be happy. You, like I said, you can't necessarily go buy a bucket of happiness, but man, you can be pretty damn happy when you get a fresh set of tires. The tires themselves don't make you happy, but what the tires represent will make you happy. The tires representing a well-maintained car, not dying during a rainstorm because you're not going to hydrofoil and spin out on the road and smash into the median. Those are all important things. Those are all important things that make people happy. And let's scroll through chat. Sorry, um, I would have cried for a month straight. Yeah, it was a it was a traumatic event. I'm not going to repeat the words that were said, but I can assure you, fuck was said more than once. Trying to bat you into conversation, worlds beyond our own galaxy, and how it would be trying to bat you into a conversation, worlds beyond our own galaxy, and how could it be avoided? Huh. I don't know what that means. Trying to get me in. There is a conversation to be had next week. We're going to have a space episode next week. I'm going to try and get Tanya in the show next week because we had a huge, huge, huge space discovery today, announced today from the Hubble telescope. Uh, it's much bigger. Um, it's not even miserable. It's, even though I agree with you, yeah, okay. Bad things are experiences for learning. That is true, Steve. Bad things are absolutely learning experiences. Um, but what kills you, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger is not necessarily true, because what doesn't kill you can make you much weaker and progressively weaker until you know, ultimately there's a straw that breaks the camel's back. Some people will always have that cloud that only rains on them no matter. Yep, and that though, and those people, I know those people. I know those people personally. They are miserable people to be around. Um, it's. I mean, Debbie Downer is a character in a skit, but they exist in real life, and it is just, oh my god. Sometimes. Um, Uh, I'm glad I could afford the 15 margaritas beers when you went to Disney. Disney is a wonderful place, and Disney isn't always the place that makes people happy though. But yeah, Disney is a marvelous magical place, and I understand exactly what you mean. When there was a meat vendor that came to the house, you know, one of those guys with the trucks, and we were in the neighborhood making our rounds, dropping off packages. We have a few extra in the truck. You know, $300 you can get this many, you know, a whole box of meat. I'm like, it's a really good feeling to be able to say, you know what, I can afford that. Let's get a whole shit ton of meat, and then we don't have to worry about buying meat at the store. We just have it, and it's a convenience. It's a price to pay for convenience, but it's a price that you're willing to pay because it's hella convenient. Those guys don't come around this neighborhood though. It's really annoying. Um, uh, when I ran out of the uh, you were miserable at Disney. You had great pictures. It looked like y'all had a lot of fun. I have been miserable in public places too. Uh, money can't buy happiness, but it can buy Old Humble. That is a good one too. Money can't buy, no, except I disagree. Money can't buy happiness. Money can't buy love, but you can pay them to leave. You don't pay for them to show up. You pay for them to leave. That's what Charlie Sheen always said. Um, yeah, there you go. Now I was 16 hours, played 9 innings, went half the night thinking. Let's see, another 9, went half the night again, and worked 12 hours the next day. Yes, I would do the same thing. Back in my early days, I would love doing that. I'd work all day, play all night, then play all day and work all night. I do not. There are distinct times in the evening when I'm like, damn, I feel like I'm 23 again. And then when the alarm hits, yeah, I'm reminded very distinctly that I am not 23 anymore. Uh, oh, Bait You into Universe conversation. We will have a universe conversation soon. Hell, I had a universe conversation. That was on one of my my day in live streams. Um, the full-on sermon about how the universe just absolutely does not give a shit about us. Um, and in fact, I think I went off on the universe tangent last Wednesday on our flat Earth uh, I'm sorry, on the episode of discussing flat Earth theory nonsense of how beautiful it is. Truly it is. It's absolutely beautiful out there. And just a cursory look out there to pay just a you know a glance out to pay attention to it. Uh, it doesn't take a deep scientific or even philosophical understanding to be able to understand basic bits of our universe and our basic local environment. And that's one of the things Bourbon Bites asked. Why do I always go back to the flat Earth crap? Uh, just a basic cursory glance to understand what's going on around us. I mean, you don't have to dissect it in any great scientific detail. Just pay attention. And when people when people glom on to theories and ideas that are counterfactual and just blatantly bogus and wrong, that can easily be debunked just by paying attention, and they just refuse to pay attention. It pisses me off because it's right there. The big old moon is right there, just saying, "Hey, look at me," pulling her shirt up, saying, "Woo, look at these," and you're just like, "I'm not going to pay attention to you, moon." I guess it's the moon. It'd be just showing its butt, I suppose. Anyway, doesn't matter. Because of the moon. Get it? Mooning. Anyway, I'm not a comedian. Um, oh, the crowdedness of Disney. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I don't. There was a. I don't like crowds. I really don't like crowds. Um, and there's a lot of places that I will avoid because I just don't like crowds. The fast pass, the lightning lane. Is that what it's called now? The lightning lane. Um, yeah, that's unfortunate. Uh, that's real unfortunate. Can we make this bigger? Yeah, we can make that bigger. Move this a little bit. I love being able to just move stuff on the screen like this. I love OBS so much more than StreamYard. Um, the new stream. What? I've been on one of the live streams at lunch-ish time. I heard you mention the universe. Oh yeah, that's it. That's the very conversation I was having. It would have been the other day when I was bottling. Yeah, uh, the bottling day. Yeah. So there you go. What time is it? Are we there? Are we there yet? We're there. We're at 11 o'clock. Okay, I'm not going to belabor the point any longer. I've had fun, guys. I really have. We've gone an hour. It's our happy hour. It's an hour. I don't want to hold y'all anymore. I know y'all got other YouTube videos to watch, uh, TikToks to scroll through. Uh, a lot of the argument about whether or not money can buy happiness is semantics. It's not happiness that it buys. The basic it buys the basic necessities of life with which you can relieve your stress and be more happy. So you can't, like I said, go to Walmart and buy a bucket of happiness. You can buy a bucket of chicken, which is pretty fucking awesome. Not at Walmart. You can't buy a bucket of chicken at Walmart. You can buy a bucket of chicken at Kentucky Fried Chicken. Um, so no, you can't buy a bucket of happiness. But you can buy the things that bring you up the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you can fulfill those needs. And as you fulfill those needs, you move up, and then you begin uh, uh, to connect with your tribe, your neighbors, your friends, your families, your associates. You don't have to constantly worry about where the next meal is coming from, and you don't have to constantly worry about whether or not you're going to make it to the office. You don't have to constantly worry. There's been scientific study after scientific study about uh, uh, decision fatigue when you're constantly having to make decisions and constantly having to make decisions, even the decision between uh, one type of green bean and the other type of green bean, because it's, a 30-cent difference, and how that just wears on you and wears on you and wears on you to the point where at the end of the day, you're just like, whatever. And as that goes forward, you start to make worse decisions, and you just start to make worse and worse and worse and worse decisions. Um, if money were not an issue, there would still be unhappy people. But in a world where money is an issue, having basic needs unfulfilled, well, that can be solved with money. More of it, ideally, solves a lot of problems, and a lot of problems specifically that lead to unhappiness in your life, um, which has been an overarching societal philosophical question for the last 20 years since Occupy Wall Street took over. The Occupy movement started taking over city parks and making noise outside of offices. That's been the overriding question. It's the same question, the same issue that they had was the same issue that the Tea Party movement had. That we feel like we're being left behind. There's more being generated. Productivity is continuing to go up. Prices continue to go up, but wages aren't. Um, and we continue to feel like we're sliding back and sliding back and sliding back. And and like I said earlier, the thing that helped build the middle class was an excess of money, more money than time. Uh, Flip that around. More time. Well, no, flip that back. More money than time. Is that right? No, they had free time, so they had more time uh, because of the more money that's what I'm trying to say. The amount of money that they earned, the growth of the economy was actually accruing to the workers who were growing that economy. They were able to build houses. They were able to hang out with their neighbors. They were able to have bowling teams and civic associations, veterans of foreign wars, uh, uh, Rotary clubs, Lions clubs, uh, the Elks Lodge that Fred Flintstone was part of. That's something we don't do anymore because we don't have the time to do that shit. And constant, continuous chipping away at our ability to move up that hierarchy of needs is manifesting itself more and more and more and more and more in everyday societal life. And there's a whole lot of people that say it and feel it, but don't know how to express it. And the reality is, what they're trying to express is that triangle, Maslow's needs. Like, we can't do this part of it. We're stuck here. We want to move up here. We're stuck. Um, and I've said this before during a day in the life streams where we built a society and a system that works really good for the boomers who are all retiring now. And it's time now that we built a society for the next three generations that are coming after the boomers, that will work for us, then work for our kids, and work for our kids' kids. And that time's coming. We are either going to embrace it and lean into it, or we're going to get dragged into it kicking and screaming, one or the other. And hopefully, if we do it the right way, we'll be able to lean into it and help shape it so that it can be enduring for generations to come, beyond that. Let's scroll back through chat some more real quick. And then we'll have a drink, have a toast, and wrap it up. How's that sound? Lightning lane sucks. Yes, I agree. Um, I always wondered if a good horn on one of those scooters would work really well. Uh, my last time we went to Disney, my sister was in a wheelchair. My sister's still in a wheelchair, but we had my sister with us who was in a wheelchair. She wanted one of those scooters, but she had brain injury, can't move her arm really well. What we weren't sure she'd be mobile very well, very mobile on it, and I had to be mindful of the fact that I was pushing her in front of me, and there's crowds of people crossing in front of her. But the last day we were there, we went ahead and got her the scooter, and she controlled it much better than we thought she could. We should have done it. We should have listened to her on the first day, and then she would have been much happier. but that's a lesson to learn. It is also there was also a deal. Well, it's a deal that they do if you're a mobility assisted individual, you kind of get to cut to the front. I don't know if they still do it. They used to do it. Uh, but there was a kid who had uh, who had muscular dystrophy, I believe, and he would rent himself to people as their golden ticket to Disney, so that they could bypass the lines, and go into the mobility assisted lanes and get onto the rides quicker. So you could. Kid was fucking brilliant. He went to Disney like 100 times because people would rent his services, buy his ticket, bring him with them. He'd buy his own food usually, uh, but they'd also have to rent his attendant to come with him, so that his mom could take care of him while he was there. So the group as a whole could go onto the rides together and bypass the entire lines and bypass everything. Way better than a fast pass. Uh, but I think Disney may have put an end to that program because of this kid who was doing this. But brilliant kid. um, I see, Nate, when we were talking the other day, I kind of got the feeling that we agreed. We were just expressing ourselves differently, which, by the way, is how most disagreements actually exist. The people agree. It's not a, it's not, it's not that A is right and B is wrong, or B is right and A is wrong. It's that A isn't entirely right and B isn't entirely right. But C, the other thing, that's the thing that they both agree on, and they're just not expressing C the same way. Uh, it's interpretation more than analysis. Interpretation over text. Uh, Walmart doesn't sell buckets of chicken. No, Walmart doesn't sell buckets of chicken. Although I'm sure there are some Walmarts where you can buy live chickens. Um, Now, there does come a point, I will say this, there does come a point where the money becomes the goal, the asset, the money does become the object, and it becomes the problem. But that's a different problem to have. That's an entirely different problem to have. And that's another topic for another day. We won't worry about that. Um, I would say the actual middle class that we call the middle class has just enough money and enough time. The problem is the real middle class has just enough money but not enough time. Well, see, that's the thing. They have enough money, but in order to get that money, they're spending too much time getting it. In order to maintain the quality of living, the size of their house, the neighborhood with the yard and all the other stuff, you drive an hour and a half to your office. So instead of working 8 hours a day, you're really working 11 hours a day, and you don't work 8 hours anyway. You work 9 or 10. So add that 9 or 10 to your 3 hour commute, and now you're talking about 13 hours a day. Over half of a physical day is spent involved in work, from the time you leave your house to the time you get back. 13 hours a day in some cases more, depending on how far away you live from the city center where you work. It's insanity. And that hollows out civic institutions, that hollows out participation in your homeowners association, that hollows out participation in your school board meetings, it hollows out participation in your city council meetings. It makes it almost impossible for normal citizens to run for office, um, because we're working 13 hours. It makes it almost impossible for us to get involved beyond calling into talk shows, or sending letters and yelling into social media outlets. It makes you don't have time to go to movies except for on the weekends. And then that changes the structure of movie theaters, because now they have to be giant palaces that can fit all the people that need to come in on weekends. And if you go in on a Wednesday, it is empty because nobody has any time on a Wednesday to go to movies. Not that you want to be the creepy old man going into the movies alone on a Wednesday afternoon, but hey, if you're going to go into a movie alone on a Wednesday afternoon, that's a great time to do it because nobody else is there. And then you can just stay in the theater and watch all the movies. That's my tip to you. Anyway, that's a rant for another day too. Uh, uh, yeah, okay. So they don't do the golden ticket uh, program anymore. That's unfortunate. One kid had to ruin it for everybody. Uh, the golden ticket plan was really, really awesome. And finally, uh, a bigger home for the money. You normally have to commute about 45 minutes to an hour. Yep. Even where I live, I don't live far. I mean, you can look at a map of the city of Houston. There's downtown Houston, 610 Beltway 8. We live right on Beltway 8 and Highway 59. It's not far. It's really, without traffic, it's 15 minutes. It's like just over 10 miles from my home to downtown Houston. But when I was commuting to work, my actual office was another 5 miles or so past downtown. So I would go about 15 to 20 miles from my home to work. And without traffic, that's a 20-minute drive. But in the mornings, it was an hour and 15 to an hour and 30 minutes every single day to go 20 fucking miles. And if I was riding a bus, it still would have been an hour on the bus, but of course I wouldn't have been driving. I could have indulged in some leisure time on the bus, but I don't do that anymore. I commute to my office, which is about 40 feet from my bed. And then when I go to my production facility, it's about 15 minutes from my home. And it is glorious. It is absolutely glorious. Hopefully, it'll pay the bills one day and not the football team or the Ducks. It's random and stupid. Don't mind me. I'm just being an idiot. Because it's late and it's time. I mean, it is late. It's 10:30, 10:20, 11:20. All right, kids. This is what we're gonna do here. Um, let's set up what do we get last couple. Uh, and make that over 2 hours. Yeah, LA area is yeah. That's the same way for I mean LA, Houston. We both have the same shit. Oh, heavy water. Whoa. What up, homie? All right, where I live, it's like 750,000 to get move-in ready with 4+ acres. I have to go hour out of the cities to find it. Essentially, you're stuck in the city in this. Well, yeah, I mean, and that's those are I mean, every home market is different, obviously, but they're home markets are all local. But what you're talking about is not, I mean, not unusual. I mean, even here in the Houston area, if you want to go a little bit further out, we're in the suburbs here, another 10 miles down the road, you're really in the exurbs where we're talking about farmland where you're living on 10 acres. But 10 more miles out north of here, 10 more miles out north of here, you're talking about adding another 30 to 45 minutes to your drive into town on traffic on Monday through Friday. It may be more than 10 miles, maybe about 15, but still, we're talking about another 30 to 45 minutes. So going out there, just another 10 miles, 15 miles, you're talking about adding another hour commute to your day, both ways, to and from. And that is cuckoo bird crazy. And what we learned in the last 2 years is there's a lot of jobs that you do not have to be at the office. Unfortunately, what we're learning now over the last 6 months is there's a lot of companies that just don't give a shit. They would much rather you be there at the office because they paid for that office. They paid for that building. They paid for that office. They want you to be there. You need to use it. Otherwise, that expense looks like insanity. But but on the third hand, what workers are also realizing is that they can make they can reduce their lifestyle and make less money and still satisfy their basic needs. They still need to make money. More money doesn't necessarily make you more happy. That's also something that we've learned over the many, many, many years. Is more money doesn't necessarily make you more happy, but you do still need to satisfy those basic needs. And those basic needs need to be satisfied. Generally speaking, if you live in a society that's based on money, they still need to be satisfied with money. Uh, so more money won't necessarily make you more happy, and you get up to a certain point where it doesn't. It literally doesn't. But if you have $300 in the bank and you need $500 to buy tires, well, more money will make you more happy because more money will buy you more tires. And maybe you don't need the $500 tires, but uh, sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes you're driving on the freeway between Wichita or towards Wichita Falls, and you go over a hose that was dropped by a oil truck, and you tear up one of your uh, wheels on your car, and now you have to replace all four wheels and rims because that's just how it goes. And now all of a sudden you need $1,000 because you need to replace all four tires and all four rims, and you have to. I mean, that you just have to if you want to get home. And getting home would make you happy, and getting tires would make you happy. So having $1,000 would make you happy because sometimes that happens. I say that almost as if it happened to me, because it did. Where are we at? 40 minutes with mile traffic. Yep. Back to Bacon. For live in the city. Yeah. See, the thing that bugged me when I lived further into the city, everything was 20 minutes away. What bugs me living out here in the suburbs is everything takes 20 minutes to get done. Like there's a giant grocery store right down here, not five, just right outside my neighborhood. Giant grocery store. You know which kind of grocery store I'm talking about. But if you just need peanut butter, Jesus Christ, it's going to take you 30, 45 minutes to get peanut butter. If you just need peanut butter. So you don't go to the store just to get peanut butter. You do without peanut butter until you need more stuff. And then you go and get a big basket full of stuff. I hate going to the grocery store. Really, really, really enjoy it. Delivered food. Um, uh, you're not wrong there, Bacon. Uh, there are alternative routes galore all over the Houston area as well. And there's been more than one occasion where I would bail off the freeway. It doesn't necessarily get you there faster. I found it doesn't necessarily get you there faster, but at least you're moving, and you have more options. Every time you run into a blockage, you have an option to go another way and go around. And when you're on the freeway, you don't have those options. You're on the giant artery of cars bringing you into the city. Whether you like it or not, that's where you're at and how you're doing it. Yeah, dude, there was one day when our distillery was up in Conroe. I was heading up to the distillery on a Saturday morning, and I'm going up Highway 59, and this truck, little Ford Ranger Nissan sized little mini truck, comes up next to me, and they're passing me up on the freeway, and I look over there, and their back rear driver's side tire starts to it starts to first it's vibrating a little bit, and it starts to do this. And I look over there, and I'm like, holy crap! And then it just goes whoosh and disintegrates, just completely disintegrates. As this guy's passing me, I see this thing just boosh. It completely disintegrates. I swerve over into the next lane to the left of me. He swerves back, he swerves again, he swerves off to the right to get to the shoulder, and then the truck it rolls like three times into the side, the grassy uh, uh, ditch side of the freeway, uh, and it was right. I had just passed the next exit. I call 911. I take the next exit that goes into the city. I'm turning around to go check and see if the dude needs any help. As I'm pulling under the freeway, the ambulance and the fire truck have already taken off. They're in front of me. They're getting there. They're going to get there before I do. Dude made it out okay. Dude was fine. His truck was totaled. But Jesus, that was like this, that traumatized me. I was like, oh my God. I immediately went and got my tires checked out. That was easily the craziest thing that has happened to me on the freeway, except for the woman who tried to hit and run me a couple of months ago. But where are we at? This one? Yep. And then a boob on your tires. um, along a certain railroad service road during rush hour. Yeah, I know a couple of guys who would do that too. I got rear-ended going over a railroad track from a stupid, crazy person who tried to uh, avoid the arm going down, but didn't realize that the traffic had fully stopped on the other side of the railroad tracks. They go over the railroad tracks to avoid the as the arm's beginning to come down. They go over the railroad tracks and then hit me, and then they have to pull off around me because the train's about to come and hit them because they're fucking stupid. That was a whole different story, though. Guys, let's call it a night, shall we? This has been fun. Thank you for joining me. Hour and a half. This hour was an hour and a half long. I appreciate you joining me. Let's have a toast, shall we? Get your drink, get your drink, pour your glass, get yourself ready. Put your toasts there in chat. In fact, I think if you type toast in chat, I think, let me see if Nightbot still does that. I can't remember. Let me look and see. If I type toast, does that do anything? Or do I have to go like exclamation mark toast? Is that how it's done? Or maybe it's slash toast? There it is. It's slash toast. May you live as long as you want and never want for as long as you live. That's a good one. Hold up your glass, guys and girls and brothers and sisters. Yeah, get with me about the bourbon. It'll be you're not gonna want to miss this. The bourbon will be available later on, hopefully by Christmas. The rye is of course available now. Get it in stores in Austin and Houston. Hopefully coming to the Dallas area soon. Tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Tune in tomorrow for our big Thursday night show. Probably trivia. I don't know what we're gonna do tomorrow night. Probably trivia. We'll probably give away another 20 boozy bucks to somebody. And then have another day in the life before the end of the week, probably. Friday, fingers crossed, we'll be able to live stream Ryan Adam Wells, the first ever Friday night live from the Old Humble Distilling Company. Keep your glasses full and your hearts full, and be awesome to each other and all that other shit. I really mean it. I love you guys. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for coming out and watching. Thank you for giving a crap. That's what makes the world matter. You got to give a crap. The root of all evil is not the love of money. The root of all evil is I don't care. And you can take that to the bank. Because love and hate are not opposites. Love and apathy is opposites. But that is all. That is all. That's it. It's time to wrap this shit up. It's time to go. May you live for as long as you want, not want for as long as you live. Cheers and salutations. We will see you all. Cheers and good night. We will see you all for the next time. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss it. Good night, everybody. Bye. Good night. Good night, everybody. Bye. Good night.